and with Andrew Marriott.
This program is a Radio Show Limited production. For more, go to www.radiolemans.com. Radio Show Limited. We talk to the world. The RadioLeMans.com forum is full of people who love all forms of motorsport, just like you. People who have opinions and aren't afraid to share them, just like you. People who enjoy following live motorsport on radio, online, on TV, just like you. Go to www.radiolemans.com and click the forum tab. Join in and give your passion for motorsport a new dimension. The RadioLeMans.com forum. Just like you. If it happens in the FIA World Endurance Championship, it happens here on RadioLeMans.com. Nissan, the power behind the FIA World Endurance Championship on RadioLeMans.com. Nissan, we know sports cars.
Hello everybody and welcome along to Silverstone, the second of our 2 race days in this super endurance weekend. Hordes of you coming in at the moment. I'm sure you're tuned in on 87.7 in your cars as you come in. It's RadioLeMans.com on the local radio station and now on the PA as well as we head towards 9 o'clock. Indeed, it is now exactly 9 o'clock. John Hindorf with the rest of the team here. We have not 1 but 2 races for you, almost 7 hours of track action. 6 of those are the first round of the FIA World Endurance Championship and the first round for 2013 as we bring a little bit of Le Mans to the centre of Great Britain in this 90th anniversary year for the world's greatest motor race. And if you are just coming into the track, don't forget the activity zone behind us where the brand new trophy for Le Mans 2013 is on display. You've also got a chance to sign the spectator wall that will be taken to La Sarthe in the third weekend in June, and the drivers will be walking past that. Leave your messages on there, and what's more, if you haven't bought your tickets yet for the 24 Hours of Le Mans 2013, well, you can do that as well. It's all in the WEC igloos behind the international pitch, the wing here at Silverstone. We'll be out on the grid just after 10 o'clock, bringing you all of the atmosphere as we build up to this first round of the FIA World Endurance Championship 2013. There's an autograph session, a pit walk as well for you, which is open to everyone and is absolutely free. Nick Damon and myself will be in the pits talking to some of the drivers, and then in our Nissan pre-race show, we'll be on the grid sampling the atmosphere and finding out just what goes on in the 45 minutes or so before the green flag shows rather than the cars rolls off the grid for the midday start. Time certain race, 6 hours of top quality World Endurance Championship racing at midday. But before that, we've got the excitement that is the FIA F3 European Championship. And to take you through that, it will be Andrew Marriott. But first, here is Johnny Palmer.
Thank you, John. Good morning. Welcome to Silverstone. If you're joining us for the first time this weekend, we've already had 2 action-packed races, so hopefully you were with us yesterday. It wins for Harry Tincknell and for Felix Rosenqvist, and we have somebody entirely different on pole position for the third race of the weekend in the form of Alex Lynn, who had a decent first race but then struggled in the second race with an opening lap spin. And it was great fun then to watch him work his way up the order to finish in 6th position in the end.
Yeah, Johnny, the grid for this third and final race of the weekend, as far as Formula 3 is concerned, was for a second different qualifying session. In fact, there was just a 5-minute break between the 2 sessions. It was an interesting session because it did rain and then dried up right at the end. So Lynn got a set of slicks on, and this is way back 2 days ago, of course. Yeah. Got a set of slicks on, and that enabled him to put it on the pole. I think there's only 2 or 3 cars managed to do that. So we've got Lynn on the pole with the championship leader, Marciello. Then we've got Rosenqvist and King. And then Buller, that's William Buller and Nick Latifi, the Canadian, who has been the big surprise this weekend. And then Harry Tincknell lines up on the 4th row of the grid with Gerhard Berger's nephew, Lucas Auer. We've got Dennis van der Laar, the Dutchman, with Sven Muller. And we've got Good performance by Gary Thompson, who's mainly raced in Japan. I guess he got onto the slicks just at the end. Then Jan Mardenborough, the ace gamer, who of course was racing a Nissan last season in GT3, and he had an interesting start to yesterday's race.
He did. It was an eventful first couple of races of his single-seater career, because a 16th position maybe had the pace to be a little bit higher up the order than that, and then just simply didn't start the second race. Well, he got away from the line and then was presented with
somebody coming
the wrong
him.
way.
Yes.
Exactly, yes. A Fortec Motorsport car. It was Felix Rosenqvist, who had been... had a car stalled right in front of him in the form of Giovinazzi, nowhere to go, and unfortunately the left rear wheel ripped from the car straight away. The car spun round, and Jan Mardenborough had no option but to pile straight into him, so that eliminated 3 cars on the spot. We've had 2 stallers in 2 races. So
these cars have got very small flywheels. They are difficult to get away, and I've seen a lot of Formula 3 cars stall over the last couple of years. They're not easy to take off the line.
And obviously the Marshals doing a great job to try and warn drivers behind with double waved yellow flags. Everyone, the Marshals up and down the pit wall alert to that sort of incident, but it's so difficult to react if you're behind one of those stalling cars. So the grid already forming up. And it will be really fascinating to see how Lynn can do from such a beneficial position there. Starts from the outside of the front row, rather, with it being very, very grippy on that side alongside Marciello.
One thing we are noticing is it's very windy out there this morning. Just look at the grid girls. Their hair is being blown around. They're struggling to hang on to the pit boards, in fact.
They're acting as like sails, aren't they, these pit boards? And they're almost being blown down the grid at the moment.
And that could be an issue in the race, because here at Silverstone there are some wide open spaces where the wind does whip across, and normally wind wouldn't be a problem with a Formula 3 car, but here they might just have to hang on a little bit. So here we are at Silverstone for this third and final round this weekend on a nearly 6-kilometre track these days at Silverstone, and we've seen, as you said, Johnny Palmer, a couple of cracking races here already in Formula 3. Of course, this is a new season of this racing. We had one race at Monza a couple of weeks ago, and of course we have seen this big change where now the FIA European Championship and what was the Euro Series are just one, taking the name of the FIA European Championship, and the British Series, which was always a competitor to this, is now a mini-series. Alex Lynn there on pole position. There he sits. He has moved from a British team. He's always, of course, previously raced for British teams, to the Italian Prema Powerteam, the champions for the past 2 years in this particular series, and they certainly run a good team. There you see they've been saving up sets of tyres for this final race. He's on a brand new set of slicks. There is a tyre management situation over the weekend, but he's obviously managed it well, because he's got a nice clean set of slicks there which have not been used. I would think that some of the other drivers will be on, maybe on one side of the car, 2 used tyres. And a nice pair of high heels we're seeing on our picture here.
I couldn't possibly comment, Andrew.
Well, she gave herself a couple of extra inches, I think.
Now, those scrub tyres, they presumably will go on the right-hand side of the car. It's a very abrasive track round here at Silverstone.
Yeah, we
were hearing from a number of drivers, the front left takes a real battering.
Yeah, and we saw some bad graining yesterday. There is Felix Rosenqvist. He certainly had the pace in the second race, didn't he?
He did once he learnt the safety car rules, yes, because that restart was quite comical in the second race yesterday.
I spoke to him afterwards, and he said, yes, he didn't use the word idiot, but he said,
I can imagine.
Yeah, so he just held his hand up and said, I made a mistake.
Because very briefly, when there is a safety car period here, and we may well get one in this race, of course, the safety car lights go off at the end of that period, comes into the pit lane, and rather than you get going as soon as you cross the start and finish line, there's actually a safety car line, as there is in Formula 1.
That's right.
Prior to Vale Corner, and from that point you can then overtake, and Felix, for whatever reason, didn't know that, so it came trundling into that corner, and we all of a sudden had cars right and left of him overtaking, and he was down to about 4th position.
Here's Will Buller then, has switched Formula 3 teams this year, now with the T-Bond, T-Team, Russell Escott's team. There is Nicholas Latifi, and as we recounted yesterday. He's got an Iranian father, and I think he's got an Italian mother. So a truly international people. But he said, I'm a Canadian. So he's firmly a Canadian. Harry Ticknell. Interesting to see what he can do. Harry Ticknell today. He's been fast and impressive all weekend.
Won round 4, of course, and 4th place in round 5, but he starts from 7th position in this race, so quite a bit of work to do. Latifi, Buller, King, Rosenqvist, Marciello and Lynn all ahead of him, and he starts alongside Lucas Auer.
Yep,
this man.
Here he is. Young man, another of these teenagers, quite a lot of teenagers in this race. Lucky boys, aren't they?
Absolutely, yes.
People shelling out the best part of those. Gerhard Berger, of course, been very much the architect of this combining of the various Formula 3 championships. Upset a few people along the way, particularly on the British side of things. But for you, the spectator, this is what we want to see, all the best Formula 3 cars all together. And that's what we're getting here today, which we didn't get last season or for many seasons before. There, the bit of Dutch going on probably down there. Dennis van der Laar, I should say, put my teeth back in.
And then for Macon Racing, Sven Muller, who was given a penalty in yesterday's second race.
Yep.
After the mayhem of that restart after the safety car, Sven Muller virtually harpooned Nicholas Latifi, and two of the cars were eliminated on the spot. Muller judged to be at fault there.
Yeah, Sven Muller is backed by the Racing Academy of the German Post Office. They're huge sponsors of motor racing in Germany. So back various cars in the DTM. I don't know if you looked at that car closely. It's got the most unusual colour scheme on it. It's a sort of matte. I've seen very few. You see the odd matte black BMW, don't you, on the road? But racing cars, I don't think I've ever seen a matte one before. That was Gary Thompson,
who has not had a great weekend up until now.
No.
25th place finish in the first race, and didn't get to the end of yesterday. So we really hope for slightly better fortunes for Gary from the inside of row 6, and Jan Mardenborough starting from the outside row, making the move to single-seaters for 2013.
Yeah, comes from a very sporting family. Dad Steve was a professional footballer for many years. Played for the likes of Swansea. And also played for Doncaster Rovers, if I remember correctly.
Early in his career, he started at Wolves, actually, and scored for them.
Yes, yeah.
Nine games for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And just over 100 games for Darlington. That's where Jan was born, although when you speak to him, he's got a very prominent Welsh accent.
Yes, yeah.
Because from an early age, they moved to the Principality.
Lucas Wolff with the URD Rennsport car, just a single car. They ran last season in a similar situation. And Lucas Wolff, one of the graduates of the Formula Masters series in Germany. Grid girls exit, stage left, or maybe it's stage right.
This is Antonio Giovinazzi, who was excluded from the results in the first race.
Yes.
And did not finish yesterday's because he stalled on the grid.
He's got the Colonel on the side of his car. That's because his teammate, the Indonesian driver, I believe his father owns most of the outlets for KFC in South America. There's Josh Hill. Had a very good second race yesterday, Josh Hill.
Yeah, problems with the under tray in the opening race.
It's uncanny, you look there at the helmet and the eyes and it's very Damon, isn't it?
He's definitely got the look of certainly his father, but I mean, he's in the publicity photographs. He's got the moustache of his grandfather going on as well.
Yeah.
So yes, it's certainly rekindling memories of people who have been following motor racing for a good few years, such as yourself, Andrew.
Yeah, indeed. Graham Hill was quite a character to deal with. I upset him once. I wrote something in Motoring News when I was doing the Formula 1 reports for them. And I remember being pinned in a corner at Anderstorp with his finger poking me in the chest. I also remember, if we can just do memory lane just for a little minute, as we look at Spike Goddard after a Formula 2 race at Vallelunga, being up all night and him leading the rugby club drinking songs.
Okay.
And I was literally carried onto the plane the following morning. I hadn't written my Motoring News report, so Graham Hill got me in big trouble.
Some hot water.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Great character.
So Spike Goddard, and this is Eddie Cheever.
Well, again, we're back
Yes.
with dynasties, or as they say in America, dynasties. Eddie Cheever, his family seem to name their eldest son Eddie. I think he's the 4th or 5th Eddie Cheever.
And do you remember, we never could actually identify the staller on the grid from race 1. We thought Dennis van der Laar, Tom Blomqvist. It was Eddie Cheever, actually, number 25, who didn't get away from the line in race 1.
Yep. Rome-based, just as his father was at this time in his career. I mentioned yesterday I saw him race here in Formula 3, Cheever Jr. Their careers are almost parallel. I wonder if he'll go on to great things and drive in over 100 Grand Prix and win the Indianapolis 500 as Cheever Senior has done. Mans Grenhagen, who has yet to prove himself in the 5 Formula 3 races we've had this season. 28 cars on the grid. We expected 30, but we had 2 non-arrivals this weekend. One of Richard Dutton's drivers from Russia just didn't turn up.
Dmitry Saranovic.
Yes.
A1.
Apparently, yes, he was in A1, that's right. Apparently he said he's got a problem with his back, but he'll be out all season. Richard Dutton hasn't seen the bank transfer. And the other was the lady driver, and you'll tell us, Johnny, about all that.
Well, Michaela Chiruti, yes, who has a great record at Monza. Started from the back of the field, I think, in 2, if not all 3 races a few weeks ago, but has won in Superstars.
Won in Superstars, yeah.
Monza.
Only woman to do that in a Mercedes-Benz. And it's racing this weekend in a BMW Z4 in the Blancpain series.
Where there's something like 62 cars entered for one race, isn't there?
Yes.
Green flag waving, though, for the 3rd race of the weekend for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, and that is the grid, as we've run through. Alex Lynn then from pole position, and he got that pole after session 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
On Friday, and that was a separate session, as you say, but it was wet and dry.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a lottery, but Alex Lynn timed his change to slick tyres perfectly to get pole.
Still the odd damp patch down there. I noticed, John, particularly looking at the grid, but with this wind blowing, I should think it will dry off pretty quickly. Just have a look at, we see any little plumes of water coming from these tyres. Everybody is, of course, on the... So you see on the left-hand side, you're watching our TV pictures, you see the puddles, well, not exactly puddles, but damp patches. You can see a bit of wet there, you see. It's going to be quite tricky. But yesterday, of course, we had the first round of the European Le Mans Series. Absolutely appalling conditions. And speaking to some of the drivers after, speaking to Johnny Molan, he said the second worst conditions he's ever driven in his career stretches some 20 years.
I think it was the timing of the rain in that race as well, because they all started on slick tyres, and then as the formation lap started, it started to pour down, and virtually on that opening lap, everyone dived into the pits to change rubber.
Yeah, there is quite a lot of water still down on the track. I think these opening laps might be a little interesting.
Absolutely. If you get offline, and of course if you're going to pull off an overtaking manoeuvre, that often means you have to head off the racing line to do that, and it'll be a launch into the unknown, because this is a green flag lap stroke sighting lap, so there is a chance to just work out where the dry patches are, the wet patches are, and certainly some of the cars in the background on Wellington Straight, that's that straight coming out of Aintree and down towards Brooklands. It was very, very damp offline, and an awful lot of spray being thrown up. So if you're behind cars that are offline, visibility will be a problem as well.
Maybe they should be on Wellington boots. So this race is a timed race. 35 minutes. After 35 minutes, flag will come out when the winner comes by, and we're anticipating it's going to be 18 laps, which is sort of a little lock up there under the warm-up lap.
That's Will Buller, I think, trying to get some heat into brakes and tyres. Now, a long way in front is Alex Lynn. Needs to be careful here that he's not sat on the grid for too long.
It's not just a matter of getting the temperatures of the tyres up. You're trying to get the pressure of the tyre up as well, and a good point, also making sure those brakes are nice and hot.
But after Alex Lynn has worked so hard on this green flag lap, he needs to be careful that he's not sat there on pole position waiting for a long time for the last car to form up. He is ahead of the field by quite some distance here. And, of course, whilst he's sat stationary, things will start to cool down again.
Absolutely correct. So, here they come.
So it's Prema Powerteam locking out the front row, Alex Lynn and Raffaele Marciello. And Marciello, I spoke to him briefly yesterday, no experience of Silverstone ahead of coming here this weekend, but you can just follow his progress. And he's learning this circuit, and he's also learning where to overtake. Village Corner, one of his favourites. Hard braking into a sharp right-hander, and he made one or two really impressive overtakes into there yesterday.
Yeah, he'll be more confident going into Hockenheim because he's already raced there several times.
And he likes Brands Hatch as well, which is the next round. He's already won twice there, so this one was a little bit of an unknown.
Yep.
Very quick to learn, though, Raffaele Marciello. Final car into position. That's Tom Blomqvist. He could do a fair bit from the back row because he's had a 10th and a 5th place finish already. Watch the 20 car, but the green flag is waved at the back of the field. Red light will go on in just a moment or two as the revs rise. Red light does go on now and will go out, and round 6 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship is underway. It's a good start from the man just behind the pole position man, Felix Rosenqvist. He's got a really good start in car number 6 and will take the lead into the first corner, Andrew.
Yeah, flyer from Rosenqvist, and no incidents behind. Just a couple of cars going wide. Oh, yeah, now we've got incidents. And off goes the 19 car there, but that was, I think that was a knock-on effect, really.
Too many cars in too small a place, and that was Mans Grenhagen reverting to the pit exit line, but also one or two bits of bodywork flying around as well. So everyone just picking their way through and beginning to go single file. No stallers on the grid, but it all seemed to kick off into farm curve this time around.
Yeah, 2 cars touched, and then Grenhagen got involved. And
look at the water in the background there, that car offline, trying to overtake. 2 abreast then into Brooklands. Real common stuff, that, almost like Formula Ford racing as they fan out into the left-hander at the end of Wellington Straight. Everyone else feeding through, and there is an awful lot of damp patches there offline that these drivers will need to be wary of.
Mardenborough made a great start. Look, he's up to 7th.
So Jan Mardenborough on a flyer here as
Lucas Wolff just trying to go down the inside
of perhaps Jordan King.
Yes, I think so.
Or was it Latifi? But already building a decent lead here. Felix Rosenqvist. Up the inside is Wolff of Jordan King, the number 4 car there. So the blue Carlin car going down a position. So it's Prema Powerteam in 2nd and 3rd as Will Buller thinks about a move around the outside at Maggot's corner. Doesn't quite come off. So Lynn is 2nd, Marciello 3rd, and Will Buller is 4th, as everyone else threads their way through Beckett's and Chapel Curve. And a spinner there, that is Sven Muller, who has gone sideways and onto the grass, and good luck getting that back in a hurry because it's like an ice rink, the grass, as soon as you get out there. Felix Rosenqvist weaving from side to side. He's got such a lead that he can try and get more heat into the tyres as Will Buller tries to move around the outside of Raffaele Marciello. They're going to go side by side through Stoke Corner. There is more grip on the outside, it looks like. Can Will Buller keep it on the curb there?
More grip, but not enough room.
No, indeed. He ran out of road, didn't he, in the end, and then into the reservoir, which is the curbing, holding a lot of water there. And Will Buller just about gets it stopped into Vale. There's Jan Mardenborough picking up another position, is he?
Yeah.
Side by side with Jordan King. It didn't quite come off, but Jan Mardenborough pushing hard in the early stages of this race. Felix Rosenqvist, rather, across the line then and leads by 2 seconds.
2 seconds, and then Marciello, Buller, Wolff, Auer. But lots of racing going on all down the field here.
Mardenborough's got that move done. Oh, he's gone a bit wide, though. No grip out there, Jan, and Jordan King repays the favour.
Yeah, behind them is Sorales.
So there's King, Mardenborough tucked in behind, and we've got a car on the pit straight. That is the 16 machine. So that's getting going again now.
That's the Colombian lady racer.
Tatiana Calderon.
Yep.
And the 25 car's come to grief. Eddie Cheever, not a good weekend for him. A 19th place finish after that stall on the grid in race 1. He did finish 10th in race 2, but it looks like another non-finish. And is this Mans Grenhagen? No, it's not. It's Dennis van der Laar, the Dutchman, number 18. Coming into the pit lane for whatever reason. Can't see any immediate damage on there, but the car is very, very slow. And double-waved yellows.
Now, what's that about?
That could be because of Tatiana Calderon's car
she's
looking very slow.
Yeah.
Well, it was on the start-finish line. It's not there at the moment because there are 2 start and finish lines here at Silverstone.
Just to confuse us all.
And with that very narrow camera shot, I'm struggling to tell whether that is into Copse corner or the first corner. It is into Copse, so that's part way round the lap. So that may well be.
And now we got the safety car.
We have.
Now.
So I wonder whether Eddie Cheever's car is actually stranded in the Copse gravel trap as Dennis van der Laar comes in.
Well, then, what are they looking at?
There's no hurry here.
No hurry at all. Went to the right rear.
And of course, because of this safety car period, Felix Rosenqvist has kissed goodbye to a 2-second lead as Sven Muller's car is being snatched away from its position, so he didn't get it off the grass in the end. This is his spin. Was there contact? Not sure, but he's booted the throttle to try and get the car away from the grass, rear-wheel drive, but it just does not want to stay on the black stuff there.
A couple of guys took a big gamble. One's working at the moment. That's Lucas Wolf. He is not on slicks. He's gone on the wets, and so did Cheever Jr., but that didn't help him.
Indeed. No.
Well, the Dutchman bails out.
So it's Felix Rosenqvist after just 2 laps. Is that all we've had? 7/10 of a second, but with, those are false positions, of course, right behind the safety car. Alex Lynn second in the safety car train. Raffaele Marciello is third. Will Buller fourth, and Lucas Wolf up to 5th position. Now, where did Lucas start?
Yeah, but he's made that tyre choice, you see.
Yes, true, but it's working.
It's
from
working
14th
at the
position.
moment. Discussion. Oh, I'm holding my hands up. Not me.
So that is Sven Muller and what, Eddie Cheever possibly?
Yeah, Eddie Cheever on the right.
Okay. Who else have we lost? Michael Lewis is out of the race.
Michael Lewis, not a good day for the Americans.
No, indeed. Mitch Gilbert being shown as stopped on our screen, and Spike Goddard as well. We've lost quite a few in the opening stages of this race.
We're down to 21 already.
Yeah, that's right. Assuming Dennis van der Laar does not rejoin. We've only had 1 flying lap, of course, but Raffaele Marciello, after that first set of flying laps for all the runners, was the quickest. He continues to improve around this circuit, but Felix Rosenqvist, there's Josh Hill out of the race.
Well, that's a mystery to me. We don't know how he got there.
The safety car was deployed because Sven Muller's car was too close to the track. It was on the grass and obviously not able to get away because there's so little grip there on the green stuff in the weeds. So on safety grounds, the car was deployed.
Here is that start. And
grippier side is the left-hand side, but just for whatever reason, Alex Lynn could not get the momentum there, and he's out in the wet stuff.
Try and watch for that incident with the 2 cars further back, Johnny.
It happened in the middle order. Yeah, blue car involved with possibly Giovinazzi again.
Yeah, I think so.
And that will have counted for a lot of cars that we are no longer seeing in the race. 22 was certainly involved.
Yeah, that's Thompson.
So a weekend to forget at Silverstone for the Irishman.
Who spent his last 3 years racing in Formula 3 in Japan.
Yeah, and that's Sven Muller spinning. And
look how quickly those wheels are going around.
He's desperately trying to arrest that slide and that spin. The car's going off in the background there as well, so that will have counted for 1 or 2 others. As Michael Lewis, I think, was one of those, and there's Eddie Cheever in the gravel, not at Copse. Is that the Lewis car, number 5?
Yeah, that's Lewis.
Yeah, with the American.
That's Lewis, yeah.
The Stars and Stripes flag on the rollover hoop. As another spin, this was Tatiana Calderon, the Colombian driver, just about keeping it out of the pit wall. And thankfully nobody collected her coming out of a fairly blind exit corner at Club to finish the lap.
Trying to understand what all that sign language is about. So there's the Audi going very slowly at the moment, waiting to pick them up, I presume.
So there are a lot of broken Dallara F312 cars here to be tractored away. That's Eddie Cheever's car being craned out of the scene.
But we don't know why Josh Hill's where he is.
No, I just wonder whether he was involved in the
now we got
incident at the start, perhaps. A rear wingless.
Yep.
Car 29, is that? That could well be Roy Nassani, for Mücke Motorsport.
And also Zeller comes in.
Sandro Zeller.
With a Swiss crash helmet. Very much like that of the great Joe Siffert.
Now, you can change your front wing on these Formula 3 cars relatively easily. Rear wing is a different job, I understand, and that may mean a retirement, unfortunately, for Roy Nassani, depending on how quickly the team can work. Prema Powerteam, then, in the box seat to a certain extent, 2nd and 3rd. They will be able to judge Felix Rosenqvist's restart, and, of course, we hope that Felix does not make the same mistake as he did yesterday.
No.
He knows where the safety car line is this time.
Do you know what, Johnny? He isn't going to. There is no way he's going to make that mistake.
I think you're right.
Again.
I think you're right. There is Josh Hill.
Yeah. We've still got that moustache.
Yes, the moustache is definitely still prominent. one of 6 retirements. So it has been a war of attrition to a certain extent. We've only had 3 laps, and 2 of those at racing speed. Coming round to complete the 4th lap, but this is into Brooklyn, so we're about to head across past the national pits. And the Formula 3 cars this weekend are based in the national pit paddock, if you like, behind where the ELMS cars have been based all weekend. Sideways there for Will Buller through shots, and it's a bit of a queue actually.
I think the big question here is, has Wolf made an inspired choice by going onto the wets, or will they go off as the race continues? There's 25 minutes remaining now. Zeller goes back into the race. Spent last year in this series, but racing in the Oni Dallara 308. They were meant to have a separate sort of national class. It never really happened. So just saw Michael Lewis's car there. Quite a bit of activity in the pits.
Yeah, mixed fortunes for the Mücke Motorsport team, because Roy Nassani's in the pits minus his rear wing, Michael Lewis in the Chapel Curve gravel, but of course another one of their cars, Felix Rosenqvist, leads the race.
Yeah. So still getting used to their orange colour scheme, which is brand new. Just saw a shot of Peter Mücke down there, who heads up this Berlin-based organisation. They also run DTM cars as well for Mercedes-Benz. Engines here this weekend in Formula 3, a mixture of Mercedes and Volkswagen, both with a lot of backing from the manufacturers. And then we've got the couple of Nissan engines as well in the 3-Bond T-Sport team.
I think that's Lucas Wolff, 5th in the sequence, searching for wet track, just to try and cool those wet tyres. Obviously this safety car period will be helping because he's not overworking them. But Felix Rosenqvist, is this the restart? Because he's already gone, I think. Down Hanger Straight. He has absolutely nailed this into Stowe Corner, so has not made a similar mistake to yesterday, and has already well and truly gone. The safety car peels into pit lane then, and Felix Rosenqvist diving into Vale Corner. Already has a decent lead. They're going to change position because they've passed the safety car line, and that's the 2 Prema Powerteam cars switching places. So Raffaele Marciello up the inside of Alex Lynn, who left the door open.
He certainly did. So Lynn drops back to 3rd place. Buller's right in the mix as well. And let's see what happens to Wolf now.
Alex Lynn in danger of being picked off by 1 or 2 others here. Will Buller having a nibble on his gearbox, but didn't quite get through. It's a fast right-hander there at the end of the start and finish straight at Abbey. Down towards Village. Here comes Lucas Wolff on the wet tyres and takes the place from Will Buller.
Yeah, they're working, aren't they, those wets at the moment? I'm pretty convinced they're going to go away later in the race.
Yeah, he needs to manage them, doesn't he? There are still wet patches on the track that he can cool the tyres on, but I think, what have we got? 23 minutes, that's a big ask. There he goes, Wolff in the background. You can see the spray as he tries to cool those tyres, but it may well lose him a position. Is that Spike Goddard coming around the outside? No, it's not.
No, that's
Wolff
on Buller.
Yeah.
And Wolff going past Buller. These tyres working so well for him at the moment.
Much better grip out of Aintree Corner onto Wellington Straight, an important part of the track that. Lucas Wolff going a little bit wide coming out of Luffield, but is starting to build a lead there on Will Buller. Cars to look out for further down the order, the 2 Fortec machines, Felix Arias and Lucas Dirani, or Pipo Dirani as he prefers to be called, started on the 10th and 11th rows respectively. So Arias is already up to 9th spot. That was a little bit of a false position by virtue of the fact that the qualifying session was a wet-dry affair, and I don't think they timed their tyre choice very well. But Dirani up to 13th, and Sarias is now 9th. Jan Mardenborough having a very decent race. He is in 8th position, having finished 16th in race 1 and did not complete race 2.
Yeah, he needs to have a good race to really get happy with Formula 3. It's so new to him. He's got so little experience. So you rush under the bridge.
Side by side, that's Jordan King on the outside of Will Buller.
Yeah. And Will Buller seems to be just going backwards a little bit at the moment.
There's Sarias gaining another position on Jan Mardenborough, so that'll put Felix up to 8th place.
And look at Wolff on those different lines because he's on the wet tyres.
So there's Jan Mardenborough having just skipped down a position. He is in car 27, comes through across the line to complete lap 5 in 8th spot. But it's Felix Rosenqvist who leads this 3rd race of the weekend. Round 6 of the 2013 FIA Formula 3 European Championship. 1.8 seconds. He's nearly got his 2-second margin back again after that demon start at the end of the safety car period. And here a move to be made quite possibly on Lucas Auer as Harry Tinknell tries to gain one of the 2 spots back again. So it's Prema Powerteam second, third and ninth at the moment as the Austrian, Gerhard Berger's nephew, heads through the left-hander at Aintree.
Still that rooster of water behind as they go out into the wetter part of the circuit. Will Buller that was, and this is Buller and Wolf side by side. Buller down the inside of Wolf. Wolf has to go wide, hangs on in there, but then drops back behind Will Buller. And Buller moves up to fourth place, ahead of Lucas Wolf. Sorales is on the move as well, just looking at the lap times. And Mardenborough putting in some very competitive times at the moment, quicker than those in front of him.
So Rosenqvist leads by 1.8 seconds.
And has just done the fastest lap of the race thus far at 2:05.235.
And
shows how wet it is, Johnny, how much they're off the pace.
yes,
Oh, look at this.
very good point. Incidentally, Tinknell and Latifi have switched positions, but this is Will Buller right behind Lucas Wolf, is it? No, it's the Lynn car, possibly, heading in towards the braking area.
Yeah, that's
and yeah, Alex Lynn under pressure from Will Buller.
Yep, Buller's having a super race here.
It's interesting, isn't it, the difference in pace between the two power team cars, because in second place, Marciello able to really pull away, and the gap now up to nearly a second between he and Alex Lynn. And there's a little bit of a queue forming up behind the man from Great Dunmow in Essex, the cork in the bottle, as they head across the line there with Buller ahead of Lucas Wolf, who in turn is under pressure from Jordan King.
Yeah, and Sorales, of course, having a super drive up into fourth place now, Sorales. And I think the Wolf tyres might start going off now as he loses another place. And King blasts past him. And the next one who's going to pick him off is right there, the red and white cars, Mardenborough, and he goes alongside Wolf now, and they're side by side. Great Formula 3 racing here at Silverstone.
I just wonder whether Felix Rosenqvist has also taken the gamble to start on wets.
Yeah, he might have done.
He started 19th, so you've not got a lot to lose down there. To be fourth place after just 6 laps from 19th on the grid is a great effort as Jan Mardenborough gains a position back on Lucas Wolf. Are Lucas Wolf's wet tyres now starting to say, I've had enough of this, and the blocks on the wet tyres starting to shift around a little bit because of the overheating?
Well, if that is the case, then I'm sure the same will also happen to Sorales. So we'll just monitor that situation. There is Wolf. There is Rosenqvist in the lead. Probably came into this championship sort of joint favourite with lanky Italian friend Raffaele Marciello, who these days lives in Ferrari land. He lives in Modena. In fact, he was born in Switzerland, but he doesn't count himself as a Swiss Italian. He says he's just happened to be where his mother was at the time.
Will Buller hard onto the brakes, or a little bit of a dab of the brakes into Stowe corner, and carries good speed through with Jordan King still on his tail. So Felix Sorales has overtaken the Irishman recently. There is Sorales, a little bit of a wiggle there, heading into the left-hander. And is that Jan Mardenborough in the background starting to catch up on these two cars? Mardenborough running 8th, but not too far away from the 6th place battle. They funnel out of Club Corner. Here's Lucas Wolf up the inside of Buller to gain a position, and runs wide so that Buller cannot repay the favour into the left-hander at the loop. And what is this in the background? The yellow colours a spin for Mans Grenhagen, number 19. And Jordan King slots his car at the inside of Lucas Wolf to go back in front. So King at the moment is 6th. Wolf not had a good last lap, actually. Now down to 9th position as those tyres start to get overworked. Felix Sorales in the foreground, and then this battle for 5th place. Buller from Jordan King in car number 4, and Buller goes a little bit wide at Brooklands. That might spot an opportunity for Jordan King, who's going to go right round the outside at Luffield. You can run nice and high through there. Switch back gives you the slingshot out of Luffield onto Woodcote Straight, and now utilising the tow from the 3-bomb with T-Sport car, that Nissan engine Dallara, nose to tail.
We thought yesterday that Nissan got quite a lot of power, didn't we? Thought maybe it got slight edge on the Volkswagen and Mercedes engines.
Yeah, showing no lack of pace there, because Buller coming out of Woodcote was under pressure, and then all of a sudden the white car pulled away very slightly down into this really fast section of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, the iconic sequence of corners at Silverstone. Normally turns 2, 3 and 4, but of course in this configuration of the circuit it's sort of 3/4 of the way around the lap, as that is Marciello, I think, closing in on Felix Rosenqvist. So he had a 2-second lead. Last time through to complete lap 7, it was down to 0.9 of a second with a fastest lap for Marciello.
Warning flag for Calderon for not respecting the track limits. This has been an ongoing story since practice on Friday. And we had at least one penalty yesterday for doing that too many times. Some wide open spaces here at Silverstone. You can run off the track limits and even go quicker in the process. It's being monitored very closely. Rosenqvist, Marciello, Lynn, Sorales, Buller and King.
Another fastest lap for Raffaele Marciello. He is half a second behind Felix Rosenqvist now and reeling in the driver for Mücke Motorsport. Also a very quick final sector that time around for Alex Lynn, who is finding pace.
Yeah, the gap's gone down to half a second now, and Rosenqvist is under pressure.
But everyone in the top 10 getting personal best lap times. It's getting grippier and grippier out there, and the man unfortunately losing out is Lucas Wolf.
Back
he is
to
down
11th.
to 11th and much, much slower than everybody else.
Sorales is 4th. I think we have to
assume that he's on slick
so
tyres.
just been having a great race.
Oh, yes.
Can call him American. He's Puerto Rican, but he also has American nationality, as do all Puerto Ricans. And
there is the gap between Rosenqvist and Marciello. And here is the number 12 car of Pipo Derani going a little bit too hot into Brooklands. He's going to run out of road there.
Yeah.
Out onto the grasscrete, and therefore gaining a position one of the Double R racing cars.
And
Sean Gillisle, possibly, or Giovinazzi.
No, it's Gillisle, and he went by.
And we will keep our eye out then for another quick Sector 2 time for Raffaele Marciello, quicker than anybody else. And there is the margin between Rosenqvist and the lanky Italian, Raffaele Marciello. No opportunity to pass heading into the right-hander at Stowe, but missing the apex there was the Swede, Rosenqvist. And here comes Marciello, has a little bit of a think about a move up the inside, but hard onto the brakes. Rosenqvist didn't really defend too much there, just parked the car in the middle of the track and got it stopped. But you just sense that Marciello has that little bit of a nimbler car, a bit quicker, and he may have been kinder to the tyres as well in this early stage.
We've got a man down with the teams who's just texted me that definitely Sorales is on the slick, so we'll end that speculation for good and all.
Fastest lap this time going to Felix Rosenqvist, so he is answering the questions asked of him by Raffaele Marciello. That will be the number 8 car.
Oh, that's
Andre
Rudersdorf, who's been with the Marcon team, the 18-year-old from Germany.
Half a second the gap, probably less than that now, heading down Wellington Straight. This is for the 10th time, and breaking into Brooklands has Felix Rosenqvist gone a little bit wider touch, but didn't lose an awful lot of time through that left-hander into Luffield, the corner with the two apices.
Apices?
Apices, is that the correct word? Important to get a good slingshot out of there through Woodcote Corner, which is flat out, and then down across the old start line into Copse Corner. A little bit of curb there, not too much because it's really greasy out there, and 2 bites of the cherry through that corner. Raffaele Marciello soaring away at the wheel. A slower car up ahead, which may have an impact on this lead battle, because they've caught it in what is normally single file stuff here through Maggots and Beckett's, but sensibly that back marker paying attention to the blue flags.
And it's going from bad to worse for Lucas Wolf, who was up there near the front. He's just been given a warning flag, and also a flag being shown to Durrani.
So Rosenqvist leads from Marciello in second place. Those are the 2 cars that we can see on the screen now. Third place is Alex Lynn, eager to get past the back marker, the yellow car in the background. So Alex Lynn is now through in the Prema Powerteam livery, white, green and red. And the number 6 car of Felix Rosenqvist under an awful lot of pressure. He's got 11.5 minutes to try and keep Raffaele Marciello behind him.
Yeah, they raced a lot together last season, these two. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And now they've got to be really careful to keep within those track limits, because this is where you might be tempted to go out a little bit too wide. certain corners where it's quite obvious.
Still very close for 5th position. Will Buller ahead of Jordan King and Jan Mardenborough, and they are circulating with only about a half a second between them. So nose-to-tail stuff there. 5th, 6th and 7th. There's a bit of a gap back to Lucas Auer, the Austrian, 2.5 seconds further behind in 8th. Harry Tinknell is 9th. Started 8th, so actually lost a spot.
Had a quiet race, hasn't he, Harry, after the success of yesterday?
Yeah. In fact, it is the 2 Carlin cars running together. Tinknell ahead of Nicholas Latifi in 10th. And 11th place, Antonio Giovinazzi. Well, this is much better than the earlier races. Here's Pipo Derani coming into the pits for whatever reason. No mandatory stops in FIA Formula 3 racing. So a problem for the Fortec Motorsport car. Luis Filippo Derani, but likes to be known as Pipo.
If Mardenborough can keep this up, it'll be his best result thus far out of the 6 that have been held. 3 more coming up at Hockenheim in 3 weeks' time.
Well, Mardenborough's right in the mix because he has 2 cars immediately in front of him. And
I mean, it's hugely impressive for a guy in only his 2nd season of racing to be right up here in a top field of Formula 3 cars, right there in the top 10.
I get the feeling he's a very fast learner, though, and to be able to go from computer games, being incredibly fast on those, to the real thing.
Yeah.
There are some comparisons, but I'm told by many drivers it's entirely different. As Marciello has a little bit of a think about a move up the inside. That may turn into an opportunity into club, possibly. Not quite, but he's right with Felix Rosenqvist here and needs to carry good speed out of club corner across the start and finish line.
What about down here? Pulls out. Is he going to try and go around the outside? No, definitely not. Tries to switch back down the inside.
He really likes Village Corner, which is the next corner on the track. The right-hander comes from a long way back, decides not to this time, though, because Felix Rosenqvist shuts the door into the loop, which is a very technical section, the newest addition to the Silverstone circuit. And they head through Aintree Corner onto Wellington Straight.
Just wondering if Copse could be a place.
Yeah, possibly, or even into Brooklands, depending on his run down Wellington Straight. Not going to quite be close enough here.
I mean, you're absolutely right. It is technical, this little section here.
And this is the old complex, as it were, the stadium section.
Yep.
Heading through Luffield Corner, past the grandstands.
Through Woodcote. Back in the old days, used to be the most famous corner here at Silverstone.
The fastest times are starting to really tumble now, down in the 157.5s, and that's Alex Lynn who's now found the fastest lap. Unfortunately, he's 3.5 seconds away from this lead battle. Can he start to haul himself back towards it to make it a leading trio, I wonder? Felix Saraya's really on his own now, 5.5 seconds further back, but in no danger of giving away 4th place because Will Buller far more concerned with Jordan King and Jan Mardenborough still right on his tail. The Irishman cannot shake those two, but he's driving a very defensive race. We saw that in the first race this weekend. Will Buller can make that car very wide indeed.
Rosenqvist defending well thus far. Is he under attack again?
Now, Tom Blomqvist, we've not mentioned him, started dead last. He has all of a sudden pulled out the fastest Sector 3 time of anybody. He's down in 18th position, but the son of rally driving legend Stig, although very much a Brit is Tom, up to 18th place. We'll watch with interest whether he can get any higher.
Derani has been given a black and yellow flag, a black and orange flag. Well, I'll just tell you about that because we've got a challenge on. They waved a flag at him, apparently is the front wing is loose.
Yeah, hence his pit lane visit. So the Felix Rosenqvist car is looking a little bit skittish, I would say. Rear end looked to be not quite as stable as Marciello's car coming through the left-hander at Farm. A full commitment corner, and I'm not sure whether those tyres maybe have seen better days for Felix Rosenqvist.
7 minutes to go. I suspect they won't have grained up as much because of all the water that's been out there, but definitely here at Silverstone you have to look after the tyres.
I did speak to Felix after the first race. He says that's how he likes the car to be set up. He likes it to sort of steer a little bit from the rear, so therefore he doesn't get quite as much graining on the front tyres as maybe Alex Lynn and Harry Tinknell have had this weekend. So there is less than 2 car lengths between these two, but that's the way it's been for the last 5 laps or so. Raffaele Marciello, try as he might, cannot find his way past Felix Rosenqvist, who's doing very well to stick those elbows out and make the 6 car as wide as possible. They snake their way through Maggots, Beckett's, and now onto Chapel Curve. And the gap is only about 2 or 3 tenths of a second. Alex Lynn Not quite as quick a lap that time around, so he's dropped time. So he's a bit on his own in third. Felix Rosenqvist safely in fourth, I would say. But Will Buller still has 2 cars right on his tail. The Carlin Motorsport car of Jordan King and Jan Mardenborough in the mix, maybe for a 5th place finish. He's 7th at the moment.
Fastest lap of the race now to Sorales.
And he's down into the 156s,
yeah,
is he now?
Marciello's just keeping his powder dry at the moment, I think. Trying to work out a place, maybe just doesn't want to telegraph his intention where he might try and make a passing manoeuvre.
So here's Jan Mardenborough in shot there, the number 27 car.
Yeah.
Born in Darlington but brought up. Here's side-by-side for the lead. Marciello around the outside, didn't quite work. That was into his favourite corner at Village, but he was not given the inside line there. Felix Rosenqvist finding the need to really defend and make sure he hugged the right-hand side curve on the approach to the corner. Nose to tail coming through Aintree, and this may mean a real opportunity for Marciello. Pulls out of the slipstream, and he's side-by-side with the Swede. How late can he brake? Heading in, it's really damp there offline, but up the inside at Brooklands, he just about gets the move done, but Rosenqvist stays there, offering a really good defence, and on the inside of Luffield corner, just about hangs on to the lead. But the Swede, Felix Rosenqvist, under an awful lot of pressure. 1 race win already to his name and a 3rd place. Which way will this one go, though? A win or a 2nd for Felix Rosenqvist? Because Raffaele Marciello now around the outside at Copse.
He was out there on the red and white paint. There's not quite so much grip out there. So, an attempt thwarted. I think he actually had his nose ahead, didn't he, for a fraction?
Through Brooklands, he was certainly leading, but Rosenqvist did not give it up. And, of course, in yesterday's 2nd race, that was an overtaking manoeuvre for Rosenqvist over the grass and the curbing into Luffield. Actually gained him the place on Harry Tinknell, who incidentally dropped away yesterday because of a problem with the rear under tray that was flapping. He's 9th at the moment, is Tinknell.
Another quick lap from Sorales. But Sorales got 3 seconds to close up on Lynn, and just 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much to ask.
3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining for this man Marciello, the Ferrari Academy driver, to try and get past Rosenqvist, the highly experienced Swede, in his 3rd season of international Formula 3 racing now, former winner of the Zandvoort Masters.
A 155.3 from Felix Rosenqvist. No one even close to that, not even in the 55s, anybody else. So a full second faster than the quickest man after that. That's Alex Lynn for Fortec Motorsport. And remember, from 19th on the grid, Rosenqvist wants a top 3 finish. He may run out of time.
Quick word for Jordan King. He's the highest placed rookie out there that hasn't raced a Formula 3 car prior to this season. Doing a good job.
Marciello again.
Here it goes again, look. The switch back inside. The Swede hangs on.
He does just about, trying his best to get up the inside there at Luffield, which is a new manoeuvre for Marciello. But Rosenqvist running a little bit wider in that 2nd lane, if you like, around Luffield, and good grip there.
Last of the late breakers here.
Just a dab into Copse. Didn't quite work out, though, because good speed carried by the number 6 car. The orange machine then ahead of the Prema Powerteam Raffaele Marciello car. That's the white, red and green machine number 1. And in the background, Alex Lynn, his teammate, still 3rd.
We've got a pretty wide Dallara there, painted in orange, haven't we? Let's see what happens here. Side by side again.
Underneath the bridge on Hanger Straight. I think he might just have the move done. Can he cut across? Not quite. Doesn't want to do it. Yeah,
yes.
He's just about done that. Fantastic move in the end.
Worked hard for that.
Must have taken him about 3 or 4 laps to pull that off. But finally, Raffaele Marciello in the lead. Can he get the car stopped at Vale now? Because you don't want to chuck it off at the very next corner. No, just about gets through there. And already building a bit of a gap on Felix Rosenqvist. I think this may well release Raffaele Marciello to build up maybe a 1 or 2 second lead.
Yeah, I think we've probably only got 2 laps to go, 1.5. Marciello, Rosenqvist, Lynn. Suarez in 4th place, the Puerto Rican driver, son of a great powerboat racer.
So let's focus on this battle for 5th position. Still Will Buller ahead of Jordan King, Jan Mardenborough and Lucas Auer. But Auer was nowhere near this battle a few laps ago. And the 3 of them racing for 5th, 6th and 7th have kind of slowed each other up. And that's meant that the Austrian Lucas Auer, nephew of Gerhard Berger, has been able to close in, and he makes a move up the inside of Jan Mardenborough. Needed to be careful not to interlock wheels there. That's at Village, into the loop. That's a left-hander, and running a touch wide, Jan Mardenborough, but should get a half-decent exit through Aintree Corner. But Jan Mardenborough being picked away from the battle just ahead of him now.
We are on the last lap. Watching for...
Oh, Lucas Auer around the outside at Brooklands and will get that place from Jan Mardenborough. So that's up to 7th position for Lucas Auer. And Jan Mardenborough could not reply, unfortunately. Final lap for the race leader, but these cars will still need to finish this lap. Is that right? No, we are onto the final lap.
We are on the final lap, yep. I'm sure we'll switch back to Marciello in a second.
So Marciello will not be too far away from a race win, and that's some good work from him. A 6th place finish in the opening race of the weekend, 2nd yesterday, and he finishes off with a win. So he will leave Silverstone with the championship lead.
Yeah. Of course, 2 wins and a 2nd place at Monza. But this excellent battle, what a super race we've had going on all the way through. Intriguing with the wet conditions.
Lucas Auer wants a position from Jordan King before we're
done. Change.
Here comes the 24 car as the win goes.
Checker flag goes down on Marciello wins. Rosenqvist, good-spirited battle. A podium for Lynn. Then it's Sorales, Buller and King. And we've still got them side by side, Johnny. They come to the line then. King, Auer, Mardenborough, and then it'll be Ticknell. Latifi finishes 10th for the final point. Giovinazzi will be 11th. Grenhagen 12th. The 16-year-old Jalil in 13th place. Gary Thompson 14th. Blomqvist made a few places up. And there is the 32 car of Galil. Stopped.
Galil may not reach the end of the race then, I wonder. But yeah, a word for Tom Blomqvist, who is running 15th at the moment, still to cross the line, but he's come from the rear of the field, from 28th position to finish in 15th place. And the margin between Felix Rosenqvist and Alex Lynn for 4th and 3rd respectively, only 7/10 of a second by the end, maybe another lap or two, and Felix Rosenqvist would have put Alex Lynn under an awful lot of pressure.
On a big charge. He had a string of fastest laps.
He did. Down
They're the 2 Prema Powerteam cars together. And, well, another success for team boss Rennie Rossin to celebrate at Prema.
So a recap of race 3 of the weekend, round 6 of the 2013 championship, and it was Felix Rosenqvist who got the demon start right behind the poleman Alex Lynn, and Lynn stuck out in the damp section of the track on the outside there on the approach to the right-hander at Abbey, and then it all kicked off in the midfield because cars left, right and centre, an awful lot of carbon fibre going flying there. Mans Grenhagen caught up in it as well, car number 19. Felix Rosenqvist, though, leading for the first time into Village Corner. Car going wide there was Sven Muller, I think, in the mid-pack.
I think Michael Lewis is involved in that incident.
Michael Lewis was involved in the Eddie Cheever problem further round because they were having that discussion, rather heated discussion at Chapel. That's a spin for Sven Muller, off onto the grass, and unfortunately no chance of getting it back from there because the grass is so wet after an awful lot of rain yesterday. It rained for about 2 hours during the ELMS race, and then off in the background there goes Michael Lewis and Eddie Cheever after some contact, I think, on the exit of Chapel. And Eddie Cheever embedded in the gravel, so was Michael Lewis, and they had a rather heated discussion behind the tyre wall. Then a spin for Tatiana Calderon on the start and finish line. Thankfully, nobody collected in that incident, and she managed to keep it out of the pit wall. But the safety car was deployed because of Sven Muller's car being so close to the edge of the track at Beckett's. So the snatch vehicle required, not only for Muller's car, but also for Michael Lewis and Eddie Cheever. Then we had this lead scrap, which must have lasted, 6 or 7 laps. And Raffaele Marciello tried every which way to get past. He thought he'd got the move done at Brooklands, but then Rosenqvist was very brave and duked it out on the approach to Luffield, on the grass, on the curbs. And this was into Village, trying to the left, trying to the right. But Rosenqvist kept that car very, very wide indeed. And this was the move, I think, for the lead of the race. A good run out of Chapel. used the slipstream, and Raffaele Marciello taking the wide, swooping line into Stowe and wrestling the lead away from Rosenqvist.
Yeah, he got it done. Another outstanding drive from the young man. No wonder Ferrari have picked him up. They picked him up actually when he was still in karting. So, excellent Formula 3 racing here from Silverstone.
And as I say, fantastic weekend for Raffaele Marciello, the man as part of the Ferrari Academy. Defends his championship lead. I think his lead coming into this race was 20.5 points. And he will continue to lead the championship.
Yep.
As we head to Hockenheim next.
Hockenheim it is. Here's confirmation of that result. Marciello from Rosenqvist. In the end, it was 1.5 seconds. Then Alex Lynn on the podium again. Sorales and Bullock, Jordan King and Auer. Mardenborough with his best result thus far. Harry Ticknell will be a little disappointed. Latifi the last place. Giovinazzi, not a bad run for Double R in 11th. Greenhagen, his best result so far in this championship. Ditto Gary Thompson. Tom Blomqvist fighting his way up from the back. Calderon, who got a warning flag but got away with it, 15th. Rudersdorf, and then after him, Lucas Wolf slipped all the way back to 17th.
Yeah, shame for Lucas, but that was a gamble probably worth going for, because it might have worked out. He was running top 4 in the early stages.
Yeah, he had his moment of glory.
Unfortunately, the track just dried up too much for wet tyres. But you never can tell. Starting as he did a little way down the order in 14th place. You might as well try it from there. There's the spin for Calderon. But Rosenqvist, a real good weekend for him. A third, a first and a second. So one of each on the podium.
Yeah, I think that's probably, we haven't got a graphic of this, but we think that's elevated Rosenqvist to second place in the championship, ahead of Ticknell and
Lucas Auer in third. Sorry, fourth in the championship.
Lynn's going to be close there as well, actually.
Yeah.
Just haven't got the calculator out at this moment.
But there are only 1 or 2 drivers that have actually managed to score points in all of the races. Marciello, one of them.
How many are there?
Alex Lynn.
Yeah.
And Harry Tinknell, I think. Rosenqvist has had a couple of non-finishes at Monza.
Just one of the Monza races only counted for half points.
Correct. Marciello, Tinknell and Lynn have all scored points. And then everybody else either outside of the points or non-finishes. So often it's consistency that can win you a championship as well as good results.
You mentioned that the paddock for these cars is not here.
Correct,
it's actually about 1.5 miles from here, isn't it? So they have to get the drivers from there back to here. So the podium takes quite a while, so you probably won't see the podium festivities and the spraying of the bubbly as we just replay you the result again. And, Marciello, his third win of the season out of 6 races. And Rosenqvist and Alex Lynn. And I'm still impressed by Latifi in only his second season of racing. And also Jan Mardenborough, of course, very much picked up by Nissan these days. I believe they're funding this drive, although in fact the car has a Volkswagen engine. And I think they see him heading in the same direction as the first of the gaming champions, Luis Ordóñez, who of course is now an established prototype driver.
Yeah, but I think he's also racing in FIA GT Series, Ordóñez, at the moment as well, in a Nissan GTR.
Yep.
As is Alex Buncombe, who was Jan's teammate in the British Championship last year. So he stayed with the sports cars, the GT cars.
Well, I think that's about it from the 3 excellent Formula 3 races here at Silverstone. Great to have this track on the schedule for this FIA Championship.
Yeah, an able support act, I think, offering something very different to the schedule,
and
but
we've
some
seen
thoroughly good racing.
We've seen some guys that are going to make it to Formula 1. Obviously, many of the current Formula 1 drivers have come up through this series, so probably today you've seen a big star of the future, and I suspect the man's name is Raffaele Marciello, but 2 or 3 of them could move on.
Maybe so, yes, indeed.
So, Johnny, great to work with you for the first time.
And you, Andrew, yes, nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, we've got the youth and experience.
Which way round that is, I'll work that out tonight. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
No, thoroughly entertaining stuff.
Yeah,
and enjoy the rest of the season, because you'll be doing DTM.
Yeah, it's off to the DTM in 3 weeks' time.
Cracking.
And we'll see what happens there. But I think this season really is going to be a big battle between the two we've seen battling today.
And if you've enjoyed, incidentally, the FIA Formula 3 Championship here at Silverstone, you were here at the track watching it, they are back at Brands Hatch during the opening weekend of May, I think it is.
That's right. It's the second round of the DTM, it is.
4th and 5th of May, and they're in support on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Couldn't be more different from the Silverstone track.
Very, very difficult to overtake.
Undulating, really short track.
Yeah.
And it may turn into the Raffaele Marciello show, because he's already won 2 races in his career there.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. OK, Johnny, thanks very much. And I'll sign off. And I'm looking forward to a great race in the WEC opening round of that championship. And I'll hand you back to John Hindhaugh.
Thank you very much, Andrew and Johnny. And we are beginning the countdown now.
This programme is a Radio Show Limited production. For more, go to www.radiolemon.com. Radio Show Limited.